Hi everyone, yes, que kalos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make almond croissant puff pastry swirls. These look really fancy, but they come together in almost no time. They freeze well, so it's good to have an extra batch of these in the freezer on hand, so that way if guests come over and you want to serve something good with some coffee, these will just bake in under 30 minutes. You really can't beat that. Flaky, buttery puff pastry that's filled with that delicious almond frangipane, and then they're twisted into beautiful swirls. I top them with a cherry, but there are so many options for this. You can use your favorite fruit or leave the fruit out. Let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin by making the almond paste. So I just melted a stick of butter. This is unsalted butter, 4 ounces of it. It's going into this bowl over here with half a cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of almond extract, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs that are at room temperature. Whisk that all together until it's smooth. Then we're going to go in with 1.5 cups of almond flour and the zest of either a lemon or an orange. You can switch from a whisk to a spatula at this point, just so that way the almond flour doesn't get stuck in the whisk, and just mix that all up until it's combined. If the mixture is looking a little bit thin and runny, you can add another half cup or 1/4 cup of almond flour just to make it a spreadable consistency. And then set this aside. Then we're going to need 2 large sheets of puff pastry. The exact measurements are going to be on the blog post. You don't have to roll this out or anything. Just make sure that there's a piece of parchment paper underneath it. It's going to make it easier to handle. Spread half of the almond paste onto 1 sheet of puff pastry and the other half on the other one. And then we're going to fold it in half, just like a book. And then using this pastry wheel, you can use a pizza cutter or even a knife. We're going to cut about 2 centimeter wide strips, just the thickness of like your finger. We're going to get about 7 strips from each puff pastry. And then we're going to take each strip carefully and just wrap it around our fingers, just so that way it can make the shape of like a swirl. It almost looks like a rose. You'll get the hang of it once you make a few of these. They're so easy to make, and they're actually a lot of fun to make. Place them with a little bit of room in between them on a baking tray that's lined with parchment paper. You could freeze whatever you're not using, because these freeze really beautifully, and just bake however many you're going to use right now. Brush them with a little bit of heavy cream, and then I like to garnish them with some sliced almonds. You can also place a cherry in the center or in between the nooks and crannies. Cherries and almond go so well together. Put berries if you want, like blueberries or raspberries. It's completely up to you. I'm using frozen cherries that I've thawed out. And then I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is my new countertop convection oven that I absolutely love. If I haven't told you about it yet, here it is. It's beautiful because it preheats so quickly. It doesn't heat up my whole kitchen. It bakes beautifully. It's also an air fryer and a toaster, and I love to use it, especially now that it's hot out and I don't want to warm up my whole house or heat up a big giant oven. So these are going to bake in here for about 25 minutes until they're puffed and golden and just beautiful, just like these. This is what they're supposed to look like. They're going to be crispy and flaky on the outside. That almond paste in the center is going to be sort of creamy and oozing out. It's going to taste just like an almond croissant, and that's it. We're just going to dust these with some powdered sugar, make some coffee, and they're ready to serve. And there you have it, golden, flaky almond croissant puff pastry swirls that are just as good with a cup of coffee as they are for dessert. You can serve these with coffee, tea, like I said. They're just so flaky and buttery and good. And of course, I always have frozen puff pastry on hand in my freezer. I buy it ready-made from the grocery store. You can make it yourself if you really want to go through all that trouble, but it's a great ingredient to have on hand because you can make sweet or savory treats in no time. Let's do the taste test. So good. Especially with that cherry on top. Of course, blueberries go well in this. Really, any berry will go good on top of this. And if you're making them in the fall, maybe some pear cubes or apple would be really nice on this. All of those fruits go really well with the almond flavor. These are delicious. They taste just like an almond croissant, except better because we're using puff pastry. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. The exact measurements and the printable recipe card are on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.